20 years ago, and I live like a man who is dead already. Dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
So lifeless, never really been the brightest, with the mind of a child, always trying to be righteous. Every day it's always just the same shit. Everyone, including myself, is wondering what your aim is. Still a fucking...
So night like this was really cruisy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like he come and stayed down, and we were like sort of just. I had this sort of thing when I was younger where it would sort of just be like, okay, you're here, we're ready. We need to now get intoxicated somehow, you know what I mean? I was young, and I just always liked the feeling of really, you know, drinking in the studio or something like that. It was just my thing, and he did it, and we ended up like missing we got really drunk, and when we were hungover in the morning, we woke up and we missed his train. It was one of the saddest things ever. He like ran up to go and get it, and then it just like slowly took off, and he just stood there like a little kid. He just kind of like dropped his bags, and it was like, oh man, you're just gonna have to stay another night. And then he did, and he stayed another night, and because he stayed another night, we wrote Nights Like This and recorded it in that night. So that's the actually only reason that song got done.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Grab a detail. That was cool.
So in this album, well, I'm going to call it an album.
It's a mixtape, but you can call it an album. Album sounds cool. Anyway. Let's call it an album.
So raps, you talk about the rap scene, how they're in it for cash, pretentious and heartless. So it's like you're fighting back at your critics, and that they're scared of new artists. So you consider yourself an underground rapper. How hard is it to get into the scene? And is a lot of the songs in this, well, some of your songs sort of aimed at getting back at these guys somehow? Like
I was saying before, anyone can say something, and I don't even like even if you've been doing it for years and you've been making a lot of style, there's no reason anyone should sort of, when it comes to skill, like completely judge whatever you want, but there's no reason anyone should ever try to be like, you can't do this, because I'm really good at this, so if I say you shouldn't do it, you shouldn't do it. In my opinion, like,
just do it.
Just do it, but like that person, you just need to stay away from that person, because they don't know what they're talking about. Like I don't know, you just got to do your thing, and then if you let like other rappers, that's I don't know. I talk about it sometimes, but I actually hate hearing about that in rap songs, to be honest. I make a song about society and
elevate your lyrics, educate your fans.
Exactly. That's
some of his words.
That sort of things. You are freaking me out with that. It's good though. It's good.
I really like it.
It's awesome. No, I've never had anyone do that, so it's great. Just chuck words together, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
And then it sounds alright. Can't see something.
I guess a lot of people with your type of creativity sort of found school a little bit of a waste of time, except when you can hand your rap in as assignments.
I had a pretty good deal happening there,
yeah.
I graduated.
Yeah?
Yeah, I finished school,
good.
but it wasn't a waste of time. I just think that I think they just need to change a few little things. These days, everything's like about, I hate to even mention this, but everything's like a lot about being like politically correct. If anything, I don't think that things should be so like, I don't know, how does this person feel, and how does this person feel, and how does this person feel? Like, I think that if someone does something wrong, they should be accountable for it, and they shouldn't. I think that the way that they go about things and just the way they try to teach these days are just a little bit too much like. They treat you like you can, you know how you feel matters and all this sort of stuff, and then you sort of, or they even tell you things like, when you graduate from school you can do anything, and they tell you just all this sort of stuff, and then it's sort of like as soon as you leave school, it's like, okay, you're on your own now. Yeah. By the way, 50% of the stuff we told you is probably not going to make any difference in your life. It's sort of like, they're cutting down trees and just giving you more and more paper. You have like a workbook like this, and it's just like you've just drawn all over it, and half the questions aren't answered. I was in an English class where my teacher was just amazing, and that was actually at Newton Moore.
Yeah.
And she was just awesome. She just said, "This is who you are," and like, you know what I mean. Regardless of just like the curriculum and all this sort of stuff, I'm obviously there's things I have to follow, and you will still have to do certain things. But like, I want to embrace you as much as I can as a person. I want to embrace what you can do.
Yeah.
Because I think that will ultimately take you somewhere from here.
So, what was your teacher's name?
Miss Stapleton. She's about, I think she's in her 60s, a little old Irish woman, and
so there you go.
She's
made
awesome.
a difference.
Yeah, made a massive difference. Massive difference.
Okay, so we're still on the Hideout Playlist Part 2. Time to Adapt is one of my favourite songs.
Awesome.
I think you've got a lot to say in that, like the rich get richer, the poor stay poor. It's surrounded by twisted victims. You talk about domestic violence. The world is just out of line.
Yeah, I'm really particular about my rhyme schemes and my multi-syllable combinations and stuff like that. I used them a lot when I started, but I didn't. I thought I knew what I was doing. I mean, there's a lot of thinking when it comes to writing. You know what I mean? It doesn't just flow constantly. So when that happens, it's a really good feeling because you're awesome. I've made it sound exactly how I want it to sound, but I'm also saying exactly what I want to say. And yeah, with that one, I even had a few people say to me oh, in the sort of parts between your verses, you put samples of that dude talking, and it kind of went for a bit too long. And I said to him, I was like, oh, if that's your opinion, I understand, but
I don't think it went for too long at all. I think the song's perfect.
It's from a movie called God Bless America, where it's all about that. Yeah, and it's just he's saying the same message, and it was just one of those things where it was just you know what I mean. I feel like I've made certain people feel things with that song. Hopefully, I feel like I've had someone, and they've been sitting there feeling that sort of feeling what I was feeling when I wrote that. You know what I mean? I just feel that's crazy that someone else can have that feeling, and you can make people feel so much of music.
Pay homage, I don't know, to the boat people that we call them. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about there, wasn't it?
Not particularly the boat people.
No.
It was more people in general, but it would do with the boat people. It was more that what I was saying with their.
You spoke about Gillard.
Yeah, I just think it's more ridiculous. You look at everything from a different point of view, that, and that's what music helps with as well. But everything's from a different point of view because you can say we shouldn't be doing this with the boat people. And we should be. Now you both feel completely different, but why? Why do you feel completely different? Okay, and this person explains, and then this person explains. But why do you feel so different about this? Why isn't there a compromise kind of situation here? Why is it all about I'm either doing this or I'm either doing that? Why don't we sit down and talk more about the situation and realise that that's what it was more about? Look, there's people dying in different countries and there's all these terrible things happening, and you're sort of worried about who's getting voted, and you know what I mean? If the problem's that bad, don't even take 5 minutes to do an interview. Spend that 5 minutes trying to work out the problem. Let's
talk about your mum for a minute. Be yourself, is what she says.
I said to her a while ago, we were in the car, and I said it's going to be one thing that I'll always remember more than anything, because she talks to me. She always talks to me. I'm gonna die one day. She always tries to talk to me, and I said, Mum, I understand, all right, but until then, can you not try to talk to me about it every time we see each other?
What, she's gonna die one day?
She just always goes, you just have to be prepared, and I'm I am prepared, but what do you want me to, get an apocalypse bag? I don't know what else to do. And she's and I always say to her, look, I said, there's one thing I remember more than anything. When I think it was about year 5, we had school discos, and I went to a school disco one night. I had long hair, came down to about here, and I wore sunglasses. This is a disco at night.
Yeah.
And I walked in at about 7:30 at night, and it's dark, and I've got sunglasses on and everything like that. And someone eventually later on in the night was just what are you wearing sunglasses for? And I was oh, they look cool, you know what I mean? And I just really liked how they look, right? And the entire drive there, as we got there, everything like that, she just never said a word to me.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately, that's if I would be a dad, I will let my kids be the weirdest. I don't care if my kid wants to walk around in a giraffe outfit for 5 years. I'll change it while he's asleep if I have to, you know what I mean? I want my kids to just do whatever they want and be as weird as they possibly can because I was allowed to do that, and it's made me the person I am, you know what I mean? So I always have her to thank for that. So
that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. But for now, take it easy.